There we go. Ahmed, my brother. How you doing?
What's up, my brother? How are you?
I am great. Really excited to have you on Friday Flow. Brother, this is going to be a special one, but before we geek out and just kind of go into it and talk about everything that has to do with the entrepreneur side of things as a barber, the manscaping side of things, and how to take care of your beauty and your face, let me actually introduce you. To my community, Ahmed Borghol is the head barber and the owner of Benny's Barbershop. And for your community, my name is Christopher Dedeyan. I'm a professional speaker and a peak performance coach. So, brother, how's your day going so far? I do know that you had to potentially, leave your barbershop because I know that you have busy days, especially
Yeah,
Fridays. Gentlemen want to have a nice little fade. So how's your day going so far?
excellent. So far, so good, man. Always blessed, especially right now to have you on live with all my live people and your live people. It's phenomenal.
100%.
Yeah,
So, man, let's start off talking about the entrepreneur side of things. I do know that now you have a phenomenal barbershop. I've been going there for
thank
several
you,
years. We've been working together
thank
for
you.
several years. Every single fade is always sponsored by Ahmed. He's always my dude that takes care of me.
You already
So
know.
initially, when you started your barbershop, you were legit two barbers, and now you're blessed to have a phenomenal place that you guys have been moved in about 10 in like what, a year
It's
or so.
been it's gonna be a year in December that
Yeah,
we
and you
moved
guys have
into this location.
and this location is so much bigger. You guys have so much more movement, and you have 10 plus barbers with you. Tell me, what
Yeah.
was the difference between Ahmed back when he had two barbers to now he has 10 barbers on the side of the entrepreneur? Has your communication skills evolved? What were certain things you have to work on as a leader, teaching your barbers, so on and so forth?
Of course, it's a bit like it's not a bit. It's a lot different than having a small barbershop. Now having a big barbershop like that with a lot of staff. We're 10 barbers. We have two receptionists that works with us also. Listen, you have to be able to communicate good, to pass your message, to have a good, strong team, a nice leadership, and everybody has to put his touch into the barbershop. Like either a barber or a receptionist or the owner, we all are the same, and we always have to keep that team spirit going on so we can evolve and get bigger and be able to give a nice vibe to the clients also. It's a lot of things that get puts into a barbershop. It's not only just cutting hair. A lot of people,
100%. You mentioned it's the whole package, like you said. When they
yeah,
come in, are they getting well treated? The secretaries, the boys, are they sharp? The barbers and the ladies, whoever they're taking care of, whoever, are they doing the right job in that regards? And talk to me a bit about the competition in the barber world, because I don't know, but I'm guessing you see it a lot. But me, I'm not a barber, but I see every single like corner street there is potentially a barber. I feel like in the last decade or so, it's really predominant in society barber shops. They weren't as much back in the day. So tell me, how do you stand out with a barbershop compared to other ones? How should somebody pick a barbershop compared to another one?
listen, there's been that wave a couple years ago that barbershop. I've been a barber for 10 years, so when I first started, there wasn't that much barbershops going on, so you didn't have that much options and going like as a barber going to work there or there. You know, you had to pick a nice barbershop and stick to it because there wasn't too much going on. But nowadays, everyone like we've had like a big wave. Like every week, there's a barbershop opening. It's not always the same thing. It's not always the same vibe. So it's not about competition. My main motto is I always tell my guys we do not compete against any other barbershop. We compete against ourselves, and that's it. How we can evolve better and do better than yesterday. Because if you focus too much on the other barbershops, you're gonna just be there and focusing on what they're doing and trying to copy them, and you're gonna be late. You always have to come up with something new and a good vibe. As a barber, me, I like to keep a family vibe in my barbershop. Everybody's equal. Everybody puts in the same amount of work, and we all stand out that way. So when the customer comes in, he's comfortable to sit on any chair, to talk with anyone. Like you've seen the barbershop, you've been there. I know you come early morning, but like you've seen a bit how it's going. So everybody walks in, even the clients, they feel home. They feel with their barber, with their friends, with the people that don't even know each other, have conversations. It's all about having a vibe. It's not about competition because if you focus too much on competition, you're not going anywhere.
I love that approach, and I love the approach that you mentioned towards making it family, making it comfortable. And actually, one of the people in the chat, Vin, said he's like, "You guys have the best service. Love going there to
Shout out,
with you
Vin.
guys." Yeah, shout out, Vin. Exactly. So I definitely feel that, and like you said, it's really the environment that you have to create for your customers and your clients to feel comfortable. Because to be quite honest, when you're sitting down and your barber's playing with your head, it is a very intimate like
Yeah,
moment. To be
yeah,
quite
yeah.
honest, like not
We're
like
right
think
into
about
your
it,
bubble.
you're right into your bubble. Like how many people touch your head or your hair? It's either your significant other or your barber or your coiffeur.
Exactly,
Like that's it. So you guys
exactly.
do come into that like format in that regard. Now, in regards to some hair, and we're talking about specifically for gentlemen, obviously that's where you guys' expertise is. Let's talk about hair loss and what you can do
Wow.
potentially to. Yeah, it's a big subject, right? I'm kind of throwing
Yeah,
you there.
yeah, yeah.
So tell me, somebody is potentially in their maybe I don't know early 20s or 30s, whenever, and they're starting to see that oh my god, their hair's getting lighter. What can they do? Is there some tricks? Is there some
That's
tools? Is there some habits they could do to really mitigate that? Is it even mitigatable? Like, what can you talk to me about, like hair loss?
Listen, there's many factors about hair loss, but now recently, like when I first started barbering, I didn't see too much hair loss at our age, like between 20 and 30. It was mostly people around 45, 50 years old that were starting to lose hair. But nowadays, like for the past 5 years, I've been seeing people like 22, 23 years old having a huge hair loss. And I've made some research on my end because I'm working on a project and I really want to like help in that special field of hair loss. And I found out a lot of causes, a lot of ways to like deviate that hair loss. But some of them are like genetics that you can't change anything. They come from the parents and everything. So it's like a genetic problem. And some other causes are like medications that creates a hormonal unbalance in your
Mm.
body that can create a hair loss. Some people have extreme stress. So whenever you're dealing with anxiety or stress, it can affect your hair loss a lot because you're creating like a confusion to your body, which is gonna like let the hair go. Or some people even lose hair after losing a lot of weight or gaining a lot of weight because they're lacking on they're depriving themselves. Like let's say people that lose excessive weight, they're depriving themselves with needed nutrients like vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that's really needed to because your hair is made out of protein. Also, some people lose hair because of just losing a lot of weight one shot and not taking the right nutrients. Some people they lose hair by gaining a lot of weight because they're not eating good. They're lacking in protein in their diets. They don't have iron. They're eating too much fast food. Sometimes the sleep comes into a role. There's a lot of factors. We can talk about it for hours and hours. But one advice I give to people is sleep early, have a good sleep, exercise, and eat well, because those three things are like the main reasons for hair loss nowadays. And you have also what's it called, the hairstylings. Like a lot of people, they use different hairstyles. Some people tend to pull their hair too much to the back, which is pulling the roots also. So
Mm.
it's creating like a hair loss also. There's so many factors, but like I said, yeah, you have to really understand what's the source of your problem and like change your diet or change the way you style your hair. It's a lot of things, man.
Okay, so
Uh,
I love you. You
yeah,
mentioned many things that play in factor, and the first thing that you mentioned was really something to highlight in regards to obviously, man. I don't know how many heads of hair do you see like a week? Like hundreds, right?
bro.
If I'm not
Yeah, yeah,
mistaken,
yeah.
legit.
Couple
Okay,
hundred.
so
Yeah.
a couple hundred. That's crazy. So when you were saying a couple of years back, you were noticing people that were losing hair more around the late 30s, 40s, and now you're seeing it in a younger generation. And you named so many causes that could create that: lack of sleep, lack of proper nutrition because it's made of protein, lack of, or not lack, but increased stress or taking
Yeah.
pills or medicines and all that stuff. So there's so many factors that come into play, and those are things that you have to work on and develop. Is there anything else that you could do, like oil treatment? I know we've spoken about this because I have a thick head of hair, but I do see
Yeah.
it getting lighter as I'm getting older. I'm 33, I'm still young, but I see it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Like
Yeah.
5 years ago, my hair wasn't like this, and it is evolving. So is there some products that you could suggest in regards to
So
oils? Does that work? Does that not?
one thing I suggest a lot to some of my clients that I notice some people that wash their hair every single day.
Mm.
That's not good at all. And we've talked about it, me and you, a lot. I've showed you some stuff. The shampoo theory every day is not like the the good thing to do. You normally you should wash your hair twice or two to three times a week. That's being excessive. Also, washing your hair that much with shampoo and everything, because your hair creates biotin, keratin, which is our natural oils that are created by your own body. So you have to let those oils feed your hair, feed your scalp and everything. So when you wash your hair with shampoo, you're eliminating all those oils. So you're creating like a unbalance with your brain. That's your brain saying like, do I need them? Do I not need them? So it stops creating those natural oils that your body creates. So some people I will recommend like there's some oil showers. So it's like products that you oil masks. So you use that once a week to give the extra boost of oil to your hair. There's many products you can use, but it all depends on what exactly you are dealing with. Like excessive hair loss. Sometimes you can't do nothing about it. There's some stages that are irreversible. So you have to understand what. Normally, the barber should advise you with the right product. So
Yeah.
it's really case by case. But washing your hair less often is one option. Using hair mask, so it's like a mix of oils. Those
Okay.
are the best options right now.
I love that you're mentioning this, and we did speak about this. And actually, let me share. I don't know if I've ever shared this on Friday Flow, but it's been over a year now that I haven't used any shampoo, conditioner product in my hair. And in the beginning, I was like, we were talking about it. Like I said, you've been cutting my hair for several years now, and I'm like, is this weird? Is it not? And then I started researching it, and I realized that it's really most of it marketing, approach to sell us these
Yeah,
shampoos, because what shampoo is doing, like you said, is taking away the natural oil. Now that's okay if you need it time to time, but then when you put hair product, what are you doing? You're adding oil back to it. So then why are you taking
yeah,
out something that you already comes naturally? Obviously, I take a shower, wet it, and all that stuff, but I
of
don't use
course,
any
of course.
product. And I've seen a huge improvement. And what we're talking about here, I remember, like I said, when I started asking questions about this, I was telling my sister about it, and she's like, "How many times do you wash your hair?" I'm like, "Every day, because I take a shower every day, because I work out every day." She's like, "You're
Yeah,
crazy. What are you doing?" And girls already know this information that I feel like
yeah.
is not as predominantly known within guys, because I guess through society now we're getting
To
more involved with
to be
like how to
honest,
look.
to be honest with you, I've found out about washing hair throughout my fiance, and she's the one that like introduced me to washing your hair with shampoo less often because it kills all the oils and everything. And she's a big fan of like all the hair care, skin care, and everything, and she taught me a lot about it. So that's how I got into hair loss. And okay, shampoo is not good, and she showed me a lot of tricks. And girls, they know it already. It's been years they do it. Like if you ask any girls or woman, they wash their hair like maximum twice a week with shampoo.
Yeah.
The rest of the time they just sometimes rinse it, sometimes not. And plus, some people have curly hair, so when they wash it, it just goes poof.
Wild.
And yeah, when they straighten it, they don't wash often. So, but
So
they've been
yeah.
doing it right. That's why they
No.
they all have hair now, and we lose our hair faster.
100%.
Yeah,
There's obviously some genomes that are linked up with that as well through evolution of a male or female. But you are right in regards to they know how to take care of their hair, and I feel like we're learning. Like I said, I learned this 2 years ago when I was 31, and I don't consider myself somebody that doesn't have information. I do consider myself somebody
for
that's
sure.
well versed in certain regards. But when I'm like, hey, my God, 31 years I've been doing something that's completely wrong, and it's crazy how society has told us something that after doing research, I'm like, wow, that's not the way. So talking about all of this, let's talk about the confidence aspect, because you kind of mentioned as well, some people lose their
Yeah.
hair, but I truly believe everything is linked up with confidence. Talk to me a bit about, do you see a significant difference when a gentleman comes on the seat, he has maybe long hair, maybe a week, 2 weeks, whatever, and then you give them a nice fade. Do you see their confidence? Like, do you see them walking differently when they walk out of the barber shop? Talk to me about the confidence aspect of getting your hair cut and getting groomed.
Brother, listen, if it wasn't for the confidence boost that we give our clients, I wouldn't be a barber yet, still, because that's what keeps us like loving what we do. And whenever we see that client sit on our chair coming here, all like you know, depressed or whatever, how he feels, and he walks out and he's all fresh and ready to go, and they all look at their hair like they just get a confidence boost. Like I have that story. One of my clients, he didn't cut his hair for like 6 months almost, and I saw him on the street. I was like, "Why are you cutting your hair?" He's like, "Oh, I have no job right now." I'm like, I'm looking for a job and everything. I'm like, listen, come see me Wednesday. I'll cut your hair and go find a job. I swear to God, once I cut his hair, he was so boosted, and he had so much confidence that he just walked out, applied, and the next week after he called me, he's like, "Brother, thank you so much for that haircut. It gave me a boost. I went there. I was feeling myself. I was ready to present myself to any job, and he got a job and he started working. And still that day, he still works there, and now he's the manager of that work that he does at that place. And he showed me how we can change their life with just a simple haircut. You know how it can boost someone.
I
So yeah,
I love that story, Ahmed. And you know what? I'm going to correlate it with my own story because I do want people to kind of understand the value of what you guys do. Like you said, you guys are cutting hair. That's not what you guys are really doing. What you guys are really doing is you're helping these gentlemen be more confident, be more secure, be more go-getters out there in the world, and they create amazing stuff like that story that you gave. And before you, I used to get my hair cut maybe once every other week and so on. And I'm somebody that's very meticulous, as you know, and I
yeah,
consider myself as a princess as well. I'm somebody that, doesn't like necessarily getting my hands dirty. And then when I started getting my haircut with you, you're like, no, you're going to come once a week. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? My hair doesn't even grow once a week. Like, is that like too much? You're like, no, 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 trust me. And bro, since now like several years cutting my hair once a week, I'm like, I'm never going to go back. And when I tell people I cut my hair once a week, they look at me weird. And the reality
yeah,
is, it's the confidence boost that gives you, that comfort level that it gives you, and that moment that just taking a step back and just treating yourself, I think is so
brother,
valuable
it's a
as well.
therapy. It's
It
a therapy.
is.
Like my next client right now, I have my next client. He comes there every week, and he's like, "Brother, I just wait for that moment every week to get there and sit on that chair and forget about all my stress and just
Yes.
focus on the haircut." And he's coming right like he's my next client right after the podcast. I have him right away, and he always look forward to get that hour with me and no stress, nothing, and walks out. And it's the end of the week for him. So he finishes the week Friday with me, and then he goes relax for the weekend. And the clients show you appreciation, and like you see the confidence with them when they get their haircut done.
I love that message over there, and I want to kind of take it back to the previous conversation we're having when you did the shift, because you were at a certain point, like you said, you had two barbers, then you brought up the five, and then during COVID, you did this big shift of going into a bigger place, making it nicer, more modern, having more barbers, but at the same time, you were doing this through COVID, and COVID for barbers and for
It was
restaurant
hell.
owners, gym owners, yes, to say the least, was hell, to be quite
Yeah,
honest. So I want
yeah.
you to kind of talk to me a bit about how did you feel throughout that process? What was the nerves like? Why did you decide to go through it still with COVID restrictions? How did you feel throughout that process within the lens of an entrepreneur?
Listen, I've been wanting to make that move ever since I started barbering. I was picturing that big barber shop with a lot of chairs, modern, and a big vibe, nice lighting, nice floor, everything. That was a picture that I had ever since I started barbering. And wherever I worked, it wasn't looking like I wanted. So when I first opened my barbershop, budget wise, I was young. I couldn't afford to open that style of barbershop. And we've waited till 2018 where we're ready to make that move. We were almost signing a contract, then COVID hit, and then we said, you know what, we'll back off a little bit. We'll see what happens with COVID. We closed 6 months there and there. All the things that happened throughout COVID. We were scared to open a barbershop, a bigger barbershop, but our space where we were was too tight, was too small. You remember for sure. It was like we were six barbers in a 500 square foot
Mm-hmm.
store, so it was very tight. And first of all, it's not hygienic for COVID. Like we couldn't be able to have 2 meters between like every barbers and without having with having a waiting room. So we had to cancel that waiting room to gain the space for us to be like conform to the rules. So at the end, we were there, and it's been 2 years. So we're like, till when we're gonna wait till COVID is done? So we said, you know what? Thanks to you, my family, everybody that supported me. pushed me to do that big move, and it took a lot of courage, but thank God it happened. And whenever you picture yourself doing something and you don't do it, that's when you miss out. And we just did it, and thank God now it's going very well.
Man, first of all, congratulations for all that. I
Thank
always
you,
tell you
brother.
just to see like from where you started to where you're going. But I love the fact that you mentioned you've always visualized that. You've always
Yeah,
seen it.
yeah,
And granted, you've known that maybe in the beginning that you started, that wasn't going to happen right away, but you've always seen it in somewhat. And then as you kind of put it and it goes in your reticular activating system, it's able to spot you in the right directions to see these opportunities and to take those risks and those calculated jumps when the time comes. So I love the fact that you're kind of doing that. And now you're still like in this phase that you're growing, but there's still so much
of
more
course,
room to grow in your barber
of course.
shop. Tell me what is next for Benny's Barber Shop. What are some things you're going to bring in? Are you going to bring in some other services? Are you going to have more barbers? Are you going to have, I don't know, talk to me a bit about what's next for Benny's Barber Shop, the growth, the vision in the next couple of years for you.
So listen, for the barbershop right now, we just finished our new station, which is called the VIP station. It's a station where we're gonna do all the facial skin treatments. We're gonna start doing hair mask, like I said before, for hair loss. We're gonna start doing like all those extra services that are not like part of the haircut, but more for the facial experience and the hair care. And soon we're gonna start implementing other services and more. And we're working on that. Eventually, we should be adding more services in 2023. But for now, we just jumped into facials. Um, Barbers, we're gonna expand for sure. We never hunt barbers to get more barbers. We want to grow organically. We want to have a nice vibe. So whenever we find a good barber that fit our environment, our vibe, has a leadership, a nice team spirit, that's when we hire that barber. And for sure, we're always looking for new barbers, but we're never gonna go push and bring barbers whoever comes. So we're really picky on whoever we hire with us. And to be honest, for the first year we did great. We weren't expecting to be 10 barbers, so now we're already 10. Maybe another two more barbers by the end of the years. We've been talking to some of them, and eventually we're gonna even start doing some. It's called SMP. It's a hair tattoo. It's micropigmentation. So for people that are already losing hair, there's a way to do like tattoos which are gonna show like pigmentation as if you weren't losing hair. So that's the
Oh,
next
wow.
service also we're working on right now.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you're going to do a lot of services. First of all, like you said, the facial, the oils for the hair, and so on. But you're also going to do services to potentially mitigate the situation of hair loss.
Yeah, of
So
course, of course.
is that the same thing? Maybe I'm wrong over here, but is that the same thing when you go and you get plugs, kind of like Mayweather, the boxer? He recently got
It,
plugs and all that. Everybody was talking about it.
I
Is that the same thing, or that's something
I
different?
think I think he got hair transplant, which is a complete
Transplant. Okay.
surgery. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a surgical procedure, so we can't really do that. We we don't deal with like surgical equipments and
Yeah.
everything. We
Yeah.
all Everything we do is like more like natural stuff. So
Okay.
unless the tattoo is not natural, it's like actual tattoo. But for all that surgical part, we're not gonna touch that.
Nice. That is
Exactly.
amazing. Brother, I mean that's great. The fact that, like you said, you're kind of opening up the roster over here to serve the gentleman even more and to bring that to the next level. I love the chat line has been just blowing up this whole time. Everybody's like, "Oh, you guys are the best barber shop," and I can see as well, like where to go book if they're interested for more barbers. And I love the fact that I just wanted to highlight. You mentioned you guys are always in the research for barbers in certain regards because you're growing, but you're very diligent in who you bring in
Yeah.
because they have to flow, and I love that aspect. So if anybody is listening as a barber, you're the way you approach your thing is just not the haircut, but it's the way you approach your thing, your service at
Yeah.
clientele, your client services is
Exactly.
something that plays a role.
Exactly.
So Ahmed, listen, I do know that you're gonna have to jump to a next client real quick, so I do want
Yeah.
to be respectful for your time, but before doing so, just tell our audience where's the best place they could contact you. Where's your shop situated? We didn't talk about where it is.
So
So tell us about all of that aspect, where they could follow you on
so
socials as well.
yeah, we're located on Timmins Street, so 1908 Boulevard Timmins. We're right in the heart of Ville Saint Laurent. You can book online at www.bennysbarbershop.ca. You can go online on our Instagram page at Benny's _barbershop. You can follow us on Facebook. You can find us on Google. We're very active on social media. We have a lot of people that reach out to us there. And you can also book your appointment within a 30 seconds span of time. You can book an appointment online, which you're going to see all our availabilities, are the barbers that are available, all the services we offer. Also, you can choose whatever you want. And yeah, we're 15 minutes far from everywhere in Montreal maximum. So you're coming from North Shore, South Shore, everywhere. We're in the heart of Montreal.
Nice, nice. Yeah, you guys are very centralized. And a couple
Yeah.
last things that I do want to mention is that your team is phenomenal too. Like I've gotten my
Thank
hair
you.
cut by you, and sometimes when you're out of town, so other people
Thank you.
take care of me, and just across the board, you guys are phenomenal at what you do.
Thank you
Now,
so
before
much.
leaving, I do want to ask one question that I've asked you before, and I found it very interesting. So barbershops traditionally have that little, I don't even know what it's called, but that
The
red,
barber pole.
white, the barber pole, right? Okay, so it's called a barber pole. What is that like signify? Where's the origins of that? How did it start? What's that ideology? Because I didn't know, and I asked you, and you gave me an interesting explanation. So I want the viewers to learn that as well.
So listen, the barber pole comes from a long, long, long history. So back in World War One, I think, there was those safe spots that were known by the barber pole. So whenever you see a barber pole, you can go there, and it's a safe spot. There's that part of the history, and there's the other part that barbers used to be the assistants to surgeons. So they would open up the body for the surgeon to be able to perform his surgery. So because the barbers are the master of the blades, back in the days, they would know where to cut for not to have a hemorrhage bleeding. What's it called? So
Internal bleeding.
Yeah, internal bleeding and stuff like that. So the white represents the bones, the blue represents the veins, and the red represents the blood. So there's many stories about like that barber pole, but the main ones I know are these two stories. And because of barbers how they handle the blade, they were the first ones to open like the body. Let's say you had a wound or like a bullet wound. Let's say they would open up and take off the bullet for you and stitch it back. It's a big history about it.
I love that we finished off with that because I knew a part of it, like you said, you explained it, but I didn't know in depth of like why you guys worked with the surgeons because you guys were so good with the blade and the correlation of the three colors, what they mean. The white is the bone, the blue is the vein, and the red is the blood. So now next time, gentlemen, when you guys pass by a barbershop and you see the barber pole, you know what it signifies. There's a history behind it from World War One, World War II, and beyond. So Ahmed, my brother, man, congratulations for all your success. Congratulations
Thank
to
you
your
so
phenomenal
much.
team. Everything you mentioned will be in the show notes below so people could go check you guys out, book. And if you guys have any questions, message. Me and Ahmed will be responding to the messages on Instagram as well. In 1 week, it will be on my YouTube channel so you guys could do the same. Ahmed, my brother, thank you very much for taking care of me every single Friday. My flow, my paid is from you. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. And keep out your phenomenal work, brother.
Thanks to you to have me on the show. And looking forward to work more together, man. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank
Ciao,
you.
ciao.
Thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.
Yes.